Hello, everyone. Rabbi Abe here, Kabbalah teacher and soul coach. What if I told you that forgiveness, one of the most beautiful things in the world, could actually be blocking you in your spiritual work, especially if you don't know how to do it right? Let me explain. So, we're all taught to forgive those who hurt us, right? In fact, you know, we know to err is human, to forgive is divine. So even, when we forgive others, we're considered on a higher place, on a higher plane. Um, and certainly we would think that, well, yeah, of course. Isn't it a good thing to forgive other people? Maybe. Maybe it is. And maybe we don't understand it. Because if we don't understand the truly spiritual aspect of forgiveness, it could actually bring us down. Let's get into it. So, the Kabbalah says there's a deeper truth to this whole understanding of forgiveness. In order to understand what that means, we need to understand soul contracts. Soul contracts. Now, in the gates of reincarnation, according to the ancient Kabbalist, well, ancient if you consider 500 years ago ancient, but it's not new. The gates of reincarnation, written part of the writings of Rabbi Isaac Luria, the Ari Zal, as he's called, or the writings of his student Rabbi Chaim Vital. And it talks about a great many things there that have to do with the soul's process in its reincarnation. And one of the ideas there, which is not a new idea, but that our soul comes down to this world with a contract of sorts, meaning we are already prepared and set and know what our spiritual work is all going to be about. That means our soul already understands and knows the situations, the issues, the difficulties, the challenges that it will face. In fact, we've chosen it. Yes, we've spoken about this idea of choosing our parents. We haven't gotten deep into it, but not only we have chosen our parents, we've chosen every challenging situation that we can possibly be involved with in life. Now, of course, that's a very difficult pill to swallow and difficult to believe. You mean to tell me I chose this very nasty divorce? You mean to tell me that I chose the boss who's mean to me and fired me for no reason? You mean to tell me that I chose to be even abused in this relationship or that? And what I'm telling you is nothing more than the soul makes contracts before it comes down to this world. And we know, and we have full understanding before we take on the body, exactly what we're able to, the environment, the situations, everything that we are going to need to accomplish our spiritual work here on earth. So when a difficult person shows up into our life, what do we do with them? We've chosen them. What do you make of that? And if we don't know how to deal with it, we get ourselves actually into more trouble. Let me explain. So, when we have a difficult situation or a challenge with someone in our life, whether they be close or, let's say, not a close person, but let's talk about people who we know, okay? People who we know, who we have some sort of relationship with. When they wrong us, what do? We tend to blame. That's right. We play the blame game. And even if we don't do it outwardly, we do it inwardly. Number one, we may judge them. How could they do this to me? How could they act this way? Why would they, they're a bad person, and so on and so forth. All the different things. And then we begin to ask questions like, why me? Depending on the level of difficulty of the situation, how could this happen to me? In fact, that's kind of a roundabout way of blaming. I don't want to say blaming God, but, if you believe in a God or a universe that, is responsible for whatever happens here, then the moment you ask, why me, aren't you sort of blaming God? Or maybe God's not responsible for everything that happens, especially when it concerns me, but just most things. Okay, let's say whatever. Okay, that's a God of convenience. Let's call it that. So what do we do? In other words, how are we to understand this? How are we to understand what is the real forgiveness over here? That's what I'm going to explain to you next. So when forgiveness comes around and we finally, we break down enough to say, maybe I learned some spirituality and maybe my coach advised me, you really need to let go. Or my priest or my rabbi said, no, listen, you got to forgive. You got to forgive people who've done you wrong. Okay. So you decide with yourself after some, contemplation that, what, you're going to forgive them. And you look for the right opportunity, the right opening, and you say, you know what, I forgive you for what you did to me. Okay. And maybe you don't use those exact words, but what is in your mind that you are forgiving them for how they did you wrong? How is that? What impact do you think that has? And you know what? Don't we feel good for forgiving other people? Don't we? Of course we do. It's a great thing. We we're a large person now. We feel good with ourselves that we forgave them. In fact, I may even dare to say our ego becomes awakened because now I'm truly spiritual. Yeah, not necessarily. Not at least not according to the deeper teachings of the Kabbalah. While it is a level, of course, this type of forgiveness is certainly beats being angry and walking around with a grudge or carrying your anger around with you. And, you know, uh, you know, perhaps you feel you've been successful in letting go of your anger, which I never buy. I never buy that, right? That's not possible. We never can let go of anger. At the right moment, it's going to resurface. We can shut it down. We can, conceal it. We can repress it, but it ain't going anywhere. If you didn't deal with it, and I'm going to tell you how to deal with it, it's not going anywhere. You can smile all you want, but at the right moment, when the trigger comes, it's going to come out at someone, if not at that person, at somewhere, at your partner, at your kids, at work, co-work, whatever. Makes no difference. Because anger is an energy. Energy cannot be repressed. It must be expressed. So, what is the real forgiveness? What is the real forgiveness? And that's what I'm going to tell you now. True forgiveness has nothing to do with forgiving them for what they did to me. I forgive you for what you did to me. No, no, no. In fact, at the end, I have there's a meditation that I will give you that you'll be able to download at RabbiAbe.com that will help us, especially before we go to sleep, and I'll tell you about it, uh, to do this Kabbalistic forgiveness. And what is it? And it it sounds simple, I don't say that it's simple. It does sound simple. But in order to accomplish true forgiveness, we must be willing to take on, listen closely, 100% accountability and responsibility. 100% accountability and responsibility. What does it mean? It means that I acknowledge, the first thing, I acknowledge that I ordered this in the restaurant of the souls. I ordered this up for me. I made this contract for me to be able to accomplish spiritual correction, spiritual perfection on a soul level. That's why we're all here. We're here to better ourselves. What is the meaning of bettering ourselves? Bettering our body? No, it means correcting the soul. At least that's the way the Kabbalists explain it. Tikkun, which we've done videos about, means Tikkun. We have also classes about it online. It means to correct the lower levels of our soul. There are higher levels of our soul that have all the answers. The lowest levels of our soul is what we come to correct. And we need the circumstances of this world and the situations that we've chosen, yes, we've chosen for ourselves in order to challenge us and to give us an opportunity to correct, to be creative, and not to be destructive in any situation. So whether that's a relationship or a different type of situation, you always need to ask yourself, am I being creative or are my actions and behavior being destructive? Which is it? It's going to be one of the other. Now, it will always be constructive when I take responsibility. Now, please, there's a danger note over here. Do not confuse responsibility with blame. Oh, so you mean I need to blame myself? Someone's always going to come up with that. We're to blame. This is not about blaming. Yes, when it comes to blaming others, yeah, we definitely shouldn't go there. Not in the beginning, we shouldn't go there. I mean, the closer we can realize and remind ourselves, wait a second, I chose this. I chose this scenario when we were souls together, before we came to this world. Again, I know that's difficult, especially in the more difficult situations that you may have experienced. That doesn't make it less true. We've chosen these things. And when we say to ourselves, well, wait a second, thank you, Creator. I appreciate the soul that came to help me by causing me difficulty, and I appreciate the opportunity for correction to help me correct myself. Now, I may not know what to do with it at the moment. That's okay. That realization, I will tell you, is at least 75 to 80% of the work. Is not blaming someone else or God for what's going on, but rather taking on the responsibility. And I say, okay, not blaming myself, but saying, okay, I know I ordered this. I know that my soul wanted this to be able to correct. Now I can begin to ask correct questions. What is it that I'm supposed to correct? What is it that I'm supposed to learn from this scenario? Now, the first step is what I said, being willing to take on the responsibility. That will open me up to begin to get more answers. Now, we may or may not be able to see all those answers by ourselves. We may need a coach of some sort. We may need a mentor. We may need, even to ask a total stranger, as it were, or to ask our partner, what do you see? Do you see, I want to take responsibility for this situation. Do you see anything in me that you think might necessitate me having to go through this? You will be very surprised at the feedback you get when you're open to receive it. And that's the key. You got to be open to receive it. Because if someone else doesn't have that spiritual permission, even you say, no, tell me, another person will feel you and feel if you're really giving them permission to speak freely. Because if not, you won't get the information you need. So you really need to be open. The point, first off, is, again, being willing to accept with appreciation the responsibility, be accountable, and say, this is great, of course. This is for my correction. I understand why this happened. Then where's the forgiveness part? Where's the forgiveness part? Oh, forgiveness, what does it really mean? Forgiveness means I've released you. I've released you. You see? It doesn't mean I'm holding you captive, and the captivity is coming from me holding you liable, because that's what I'm doing. I'm holding you. I'm holding on to your energy. And as long as I'm holding on to your energy, you're not free, and I'm not free. Neither one of us are free. Okay? If I'm holding you captive, I am also captive together with you in that box. So, what should be the outcome of such a situation? The outcome of a situation where I'm willing to be accountable and I'm willing to truly forgive, Kabbalistically, spiritually speaking, meaning what? I'm willing to release you completely because I realize you were just an actor in my life movie. It's a stage. And if it wouldn't be you, it'll be someone else. And it really, truly would be, because we don't affect anybody's destiny other than our own. It's not possible because there's no free will. There's no free will. We're saying it's a random universe and there's no rhyme. It's chaotic, and it's not. There's a perfect order in this universe. Of course, we don't see it because we're brilliant with our five senses, of course. So we think we see everything, how everything is operating and what's connected to what, and we don't even connect the dots to what we ate for breakfast or lunch yesterday. We don't. The result of releasing other people from the liability, which is the true forgiveness, and taking on the accountability, myself, and responsibility, not blame, responsibility for choosing this situation because I needed to learn. It's something that I need. It comes from me. What do I get? Freedom. That's real freedom. You're wondering what freedom is? Freedom is truly releasing others from the liability that I placed upon them. I get free. That's the payoff. I get free. My soul can elevate. I can go to higher planes. I remove blockages. Who knows what I've been blocking? Maybe I've been blocking some other relationships that are waiting. Imagine maybe a soulmate is waiting for somebody, but as long as you have that thorn about blaming others, you'll just mess up the relationship that the universe wants you to meet or have. So you need to deal with that first. Otherwise, you're going to mess up the new relationship. Why should they give it to you if you're just going to mess it up? Because we always need to learn things, right? They build us up, and we need to learn what we need to learn before we can get a new and better situation. It works that way with finances too. If you don't learn how to conserve energy, let's say, and money is energy, why should they give you? If you're just going to waste it, okay, and if you want it from a good place, not from a negative place, we're assuming, then the universe will, kind of wait in order to give you more blessings of sustenance and money and abundance when you are better suited, when you know how to deal with it, when you know what to do with it, when you know how to share and give charity as well. Why? I mean, if you were God, who should you give more to? Someone who only thinks of themselves, or someone who really thinks of others and really wants to share and benefit others as well as himself? not to the exclusion of ourselves, but certainly to, you know, to benefit others as well. Okay, so how do we wrap things up over here? And the answer is it's not about letting other people off the hook. If we need to tell somebody something, then we should tell them, but it shouldn't be with blame. When we tell somebody something, meaning in a critical way, it should be in the form of constructive criticism. Now, there are rules about this. I won't get into that now, but it shouldn't be because I feel I just need to tell them right now and put them in their place. No. We should only constructively criticize. The hint is when we don't feel like it. When we don't feel like it, after I've already released them and after, oh, good, and I've taken on my responsibility, only then can you speak to tell someone else from a place of love and care, because you care about them, not because you want to revenge, and get them back because you're still judging them. No, then you should keep your mouth shut. But if it's truly coming from a place of love, and you've already done the work, you've already released them, you've already truly forgiven them, then you can say, by the way, I learned so much from that thing. Let me share with you what I learned, and, so on. Then you may be able to share with them what you feel from their perspective would help them as a true friend or partner, as it were, but not as a criticism in itself, because then you run the risk of judging them and, coming from the wrong place. And so spiritual forgiveness, don't fall into the big lie, okay? Don't fall into the big lie of I'm a spiritual person and I've, forgiven everybody for what they did to me. If that's the way you feel, you haven't really done the work. When you're really ready to be accountable and take on the responsibility of why you have it in the first place, which is only to teach you. And remember always, if the universe didn't choose them to do it to you or to cause you the situation, definitely somebody else would be in their place. And that's to tell us it's not about them ever. It's always about us. But that gives us freedom and the ability to grow and elevate to so many new and better things. Be blessed, guys. And I'll see you soon in the next video. All the best.